This is the heartbreaking story of a 68 years old man who spent 28 years of his life in prison for a crime he never committed. Now, I want to warn you that this story might leave you in tears. So, Mr. Innocent Onwuchia was a young man and he was doing pretty okay for himself. He had a beautiful wife and he had a son. Now, he's an indigene of Umahia, Abia State, Nigeria. And he was also a cook for a prestigious company. Now, to Mr. Innocent, he was doing well for himself for a man who wasn't so educated. He was earning an okay salary and he could take care of his family. Now, everything turned for the worse. His life became a tragic story on one fateful day when three men came to his company residence looking for a job. Now, these three men were confronted by the security, that is the gate man, who asked them what they were looking for. And they said, "We are looking for a job." And Mr. Innocent promised to help us get a job. Now, I don't know why Mr. Innocent, was in the position to grant these men a job or to help them process any job offer. I don't know. Because just as the gate man or the security man went to inform Mr. Innocent, "Look, there are three men that are looking for you. They say that you were going to help them process a job offer." He immediately left whatever he was doing and went down to seek this man. So he might have been involved in some sort of a program that helps people secure a job. I don't know. If not, what would prompt him to leave his duty post to go meet men that claimed that they were looking for a job? So he went down to see this man. And as soon as they saw him, guess what happened? They pounced on him and they started beating him, and a struggle ensued. Now, Mr. Innocent was actually a very strong young man, and he was able to inflict some injuries on these three men. But then, no matter how strong a man is, when you have three men against one, it's not a fair fight, and only one thing is bound to happen. They were able to overpower Mr. Innocent, and they took him from the company premises, bundled him inside a truck or a vehicle, and they headed to the police station. So Mr. Innocent was really confused when the struggle was happening. It was when he was put in the van that he realized that these guys were actually police officers disguised as men. They were looking for a job. So on getting to the police station, he started asking them, "What is my offense? What did I do? What crime did I commit?" And the moment he asked these questions, they started beating him all over again. They rained down beatings on him till the point that his bones were fractured, especially his leg. Now, the policemen reportedly proceeded to take urine that was, passed down from prostitutes that were arrested previous night, and they used that urine to beat him, and they poured everything on him. He now still kept asking, "What is my offense? I think I demand to know what I did." It was at this point that the police officers decided to tell him what his offense is. So they said, "Look, we've arrested you for two reasons. One, you assaulted police officers and you used charm on us, and that was why you were able to overpower us in the beginning and even injure some of us. Now, the second reason is that you poured acid on a man who ended up being unalived 2 days later." Now, Mr. Innocent was very puzzled at this point. He now answered and said, "Look, when you guys came to the company premises, you were not putting on any police attire. And the way the struggle ensued and the way I was, being approached, I felt like these were kidnappers or something. And that was why I put up a fight and a struggle." And then for the second one, he now said, "I don't know anything about any man and any asset. But you know how these things can be when you are in a police station." So all of his pleas were dismissed. Now he ended up staying 2 days in the police station. And then after that, they told him, "We are going to transfer you to another police division." Now, as they were transferring him on a vehicle, they stopped at a nearby market and they bought 12 canes. Now, after the canes were purchased, they took him to the police division that they initially told him that they were going to transfer him to. On getting there, according to Mr. Innocent, they used those canes that were purchased to flog him. They flogged the living daylight out of him again. And this further left him puzzled. He was like, "What is going on?" So his statement was taken and he was charged to court. Now, from the magistrate court, the whole matter proceeded to what? To the High Court. Now, when the issue got to the High Court, he couldn't afford a lawyer, and one was, provided for him. And according to Mr. Innocent, there were 4 witnesses that testified against him, that he actually came to the house of the man that they said was, acid was poured on and he ended up being unalived. And these 4 witnesses, one of them claimed that he came alone, while the other 3 said that he came with 3 other people. Now, tragically, or I don't want to say fortunately, because when anybody is unalived or gone, it is not a good thing. So those witnesses actually ended up, passing away due to tragic circumstances after they've given false witness against Mr. Innocent. So it was during this court process and proceedings that the whole detail of the case, was told to Mr. Innocent. And he now recalled, yes, this man that I'm being accused of pouring acid on actually was a man that defrauded him. So Mr. Innocent now narrated to the court and told them, look, this particular man defrauded me of 17,615 naira. And this was how it happened, that this man came to his house begging him to help them write a letter. That is in the company of other people, to write a letter for a job or whatever that letter was for. And, they returned and thanked him that the purpose of the letter was achieved, and they invited Mr. Innocent over to their own premises. On getting there, they introduced him to, some sort of black liquid, and he told him that this black liquid could help him make more money. And they ended up defrauding him of his hard-earned 17,615 naira. Now, Mr. Innocent was actually very sad about this, and, he told one Mr. Fred, who promised to help him. And Mr. Fred mobilized soldiers and they went to this fraudster's house. And after all said and done, they were not able to recover the money. So Mr. Innocent decided, look, I'm going to leave this money for these people. Now, this is what he told the court that transpired, and that he did nothing after that, and he had no hand whatsoever in the death of this man that, acid was said to have been poured on, and he later got unalived. But then his whole pleas and his entire begging and all of that fell on deaf ears, and he ended up losing the case. And he was sentenced to death by hanging in 2002. Now, Mr. Innocent was moved to the prison, and at this point, he had already accepted his fate. But then a lawyer decided to, help him appeal the case. But something mysterious happened again. On the day that the lawyer was supposed to go and file this appeal lawsuit, he had a tragic automobile accident, and that was the end of it. So at this point, Mr. Innocent was like, it's fine. Let me accept this fate. Let me accept my life the way it is. Now, during the course of this 28 years in prison, waiting for his turn to come to be hanged, his family abandoned him. His wife took his son and ran away. Friends abandoned him. Nobody came to visit him. Now, there is this thing we call letter of clemency. And, sometimes prisoners will write it to the government hoping that, they will grant them their freedom. And Mr. Innocent kept on writing these letters. He kept on writing this letter. He didn't really have any hope that something was going to come out of it, but he wanted to just try. And one day he got a good news. And that good news was that the governor at that point had granted him his freedom. And that was how Mr. Innocent regained his freedom and was reintroduced into the society after spending 28 years for something he knows absolutely nothing about. 28 years gone. And now he's 68 years old. And I can say that his whole life, his whole youthful life has been thrown away because of a case that should have been verified properly, that should have been investigated properly by the police. Now, I feel the family of the fraudsters, saw the entire thing that transpired when Mr. Innocent took soldiers to the fraudster's house in a bid to recover his money, and they got offended and they wanted to get back at Mr. Innocent, and they concocted a story, the story of Mr. Innocent coming to pour acid on the man. I don't know if truly the man actually died. Nobody knows. But then 28 years has been wasted, and wasted for nothing. There are lots of people who are in prison. There are lots of people who have been hanged and executed for crimes they do not commit. I pray that we will not be part of those people.